as a black woman in America, where do you feel you fit personally? Again, I say not black people in general. We know America's history. I'm saying you as an individual. What do you think the perception people have of you? Face value.
You mean when they just see me and say hello?
Yeah, people.
Not anybody dwells in a conversation.
No, like you. Let's say the reactions you get, the assumptions you get from people who meet you for the first time, or just in general passing. What do you get?
I'm close to saying I know and I don't know at the same time. But I've heard strangers that maybe say, "Oh, you're so nice," or "Where'd you go to school?" or something like that. But it's usually friendly. I think that people don't see me as a threat. They just don't view me as the angry black woman. They don't see that. That's about it.
Do you get that across the board, or is that regional? Let's say, like if you're down south, and I'm not saying white looking at black, but I'm just talking about people, because nowadays everybody has an opinion. You walk outside, cancel culture, you could barely move, so I'm assuming everybody has a different encounter with people, especially a black woman, especially now with all the drama. Not now, it's been going on forever, but now that it's televised and it's getting all this attention, do you feel any of that at all?
No, because I think because I know so much of my history as a black human.
Knowledge yourself.
And because I know who I am, where I came from, and where my ancestors and what we had to do for me to get here. Even my job, slavery just happened. That's just my interpretation.
About a week ago.
About a week ago. I don't really think about that because I'm just like, okay, I'm me. And when a person sees me, they just take me as I am. If it's in passing, you really can't judge me because we're just going like this.
I ask this all the time because people are quick to judge. There are a million videos of people. The one most recently with the army guy who was manhandling that young man. He went off of face value.
Sure.
Now, had I had him in his chair and I asked him, he's going to have a different answer.
Sure.
Do you think the fact that you have knowledge yourself, that you study, that you look inward, that you look in the mirror and ask those questions, that you ask your husband if he asked himself, helps you walk a little more sturdy? Because you might be getting those looks or might be getting those reactions, but you don't even give them your peripheral because you're confident in your history and knowing who
I just don't pay attention. I mean, what are the opinions of others about me? The people I know that answer. But the people I don't know, most people that I run across in the daily, whether it's in the supermarket, the cashier, or the banker, it's pretty much like, okay, I know that some people have looked at me like, oh, she must be balling because maybe she got a nice bag.
Mm-hmm.
Or, I have jewelry, but I don't wear it, especially when I'm traveling back and forth because I just don't. It's dangerous. But some days I'll put on my jewelry and it's a little blingy sometimes, my rings. Maybe they're looking at me like, oh, she thinks she's cute. The silly things.
Yeah, you're not gonna.
I just don't pay attention.
Okay, because I ask that a lot too because my experience, I know the looks I get, I know the tension when I get by certain people. I'm a big guy, so I ask everybody because everybody has a different experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you have a safe space, whether physical or mental, that you escape to when dealing with difficult situations? What's the process and how do you benefit from that?
Did you ever see Blade Runner? That's me. I'm a runner.
That's a long time.
I'm running somewhere because I don't like difficult situations.
When you say you run, do you mean you avoid the situation or do you go out for a jog?
No, I'm like getting the hell away from it, period. If
Okay.
it's something I have to deal with, maybe it's kids or husband, I'm going to deal with it head on. But some stuff, I don't want to deal with it.
So what's your getaway?
I'll go home because I have a nice bathroom. And I set up my home to be like a haven for me.
Yeah.
So I have a sitting room downstairs and it has the music in there. And then my bathroom is really big, so I can like zone out in there. And I have a TV in there, so I turn the TV on or I listen to music. I take a bubble bath and I get a glass of wine and I'm so good. I'm so good.
What's the benefit?
Relaxation. Relaxing my mind, relaxing my body, letting my muscles just, because when you tense up, if you're angry, when you get to a point where you can relax, everything just melts. So that's the goal, to not let things get to me. But I am running away from a situation. I'm just like, oh, I don't want to deal with you because you're presenting something I don't want to be bothered with.
When was the last time you cried, and how important is it to let out that emotion?
When's the last time I cried? The other day. I mean, I cry sometimes when I am so exhausted from the job that the tiredness, I'll go home and I'll cry to my husband.
And then what's the benefit?
I feel good after. I feel relieved. I'll just like, honey, I'm tired. And he's like, just go to sleep. And I'm like, no, you understand. I'm mentally exhausted, especially since COVID. There was a lot of scares with it and things that caused me to cry, like a few months ago when they had the refrigerated trucks outside the hospital. And when I went home, I was a mess. So that wasn't too long ago. But the relief of crying, I was able to let it go. Because you got to, and energy is transferred.
Would you recommend crying as a way of therapy?
I would. I mean, it helps me.
All right. You said you were married. What's your relationship with your spouse now?
My second marriage.
Okay, your second. Let's go with your second marriage. What's your relationship with him now compared to when you started?
You mean my first?
No, your current husband, because you don't have a relationship with your husband.
Right. So you mean
what's your relationship now compared to when you and your current husband started?
My husband now is my best friend. He's actually my best friend. When we first started, we knew we liked each other. We knew we loved each other. But there was a confidence that had to come with time where I felt like I could just tell him anything. He felt comfortable because, I haven't seen him cry a whole lot, but in the course of our marriage, sure, once or twice. And I've cried. And we divorced and we came back together. Because the whole time when we weren't together, I could deny it and be like, oh yeah. But I missed him. I missed the friendship. So we are best friends.
That's great. You said you have a son and a stepson.
Mm-hmm.
How does being a parent change your view of life? Having to have responsibility of raising a child. You had your before life where you said you was crazy, living your life, running around. Now you have a child. How does that change you?
Well, these two boys, raising them was challenging because they're great, but they were challenging, and I had to speak to them in the way that I wasn't spoken to. I had to put them down on a lot of shit. Just, let me tell you how it's going to be when you give the girl. Let me tell you this. Let me show you this. I didn't get a chance to have someone speak to me in a way that I could understand life, right? So I feel that my fears have grown because I wasn't afraid of myself and my life. My father was scared. But now, as a parent, having boys, I feel like my fears have grown for them because of society and the way that I know our males can be treated. So one's 28, the other one is 30. So it doesn't change just because...
As a parent, you're always constantly worrying.
I'm always worrying. Every day is a worry.
Because of the world situation, two young black men heightened your awareness of what's the possibilities.
Sure.
So...
Yeah, so I'm a little afraid. Like, for them.
It's a constant worry.
It's a constant worry. But I say a prayer and I let it go because you can't carry that around all
Focus
day.
and move.
Yeah.
So what's the good and the bad of having children?
The bad is that they're a pain in the ass. I mean, I always tell my son, look, I can't drive your car and my car too, which is life. But what you find is that you're living your life and you're still journeying as a human, as yourself. But now you got to help the other person journey. Because even at 20, you're not getting it. It's not sinking in. There's certain stuff let me put my shit down, which will be like my business. Like if I'm studying for school, I gotta go talk to him about a money situation. And that's the bad thing, I think, is that they're growing and you have to help them because now you're an adult and you still have your own adult life as my child, but you're still making the dumb mistakes. The good side is that they are the best things that ever happened to me in terms of like their sweetness and their the way they are. They're just wonderful. They've never been in trouble with the police. There's not been no drug habits. I'm not saying either one of them to smoke a little weed from time to time, but in terms of having like drug habit that's affecting the household, that was a good thing.
It's weird that we have to mention that as a positive. Like that should be the norm.
It should be the norm, and I guess it was.
But this is the world.
But
that's just America.
It's a good thing.
Yeah, it's definitely a good thing. But it's sad that we have to mention that as if it's because it's so consistent throughout the world.
Sure.
Okay. One lesson you would give to your child and hope that they would take to heart.
Save your money. Invest your money. Save while you're young. Work hard while you're young. Save your money.